Engaging session and thought-provoking session. This session is a classroom discussion led by Dr. Antonio Rapso on a very relevant topic, the importance of food innovation and food neophobia assessment. Dr. Rapso will guide us through the challenges and opportunities in introducing new foods and how understanding food neophobia can shape the future of the food industry. We encourage you to all actively participate and bring your questions to the discussion. Over to you, sir.
So, good afternoon. I hope all of you have enjoyed your lunch and get started for our discussion on this topic. We have already discussed and make a presentation about it. That is the development of new foods, the food innovation, and the food neophobia assessment, and how important it is to make this assessment when we think on develop and to introduce a new food product on the market. And for that, I bring some figures that can make us think on it. So here we have some multidisciplinary approaches to address food security and regarded with innovation, food innovation. So these multidisciplinary approaches are required to effectively address the food security challenge, which result in the innovation technologies and approaches. We have here some examples related with the advancement in genetic engineering to develop high yield and disease resistant crops, using drones and big data analytics for precision farming, the expanding use of 3D bioprinting that I think that in the future days we will also have a lecture dedicated to this topic to produce non-animal based meat alternatives. And in this diagram you have all of these approaches that are very, very important to address when we think on the food security and their key directions. So if we see food safety, of course, when we talk about food security, it is implied to talk about food safety and the food traceability, reducing foodborne pathogens, and of course, we have also the goal to reduce the food waste. We have already discussed very in depth this topic in the last few days regarding the packaging, the supply chain, and also the enhancing of food sources from farming and the need we perhaps having sometimes to enhance to increase our productivity. And all the topic related with GMO, genetical modified crops, and the precision agriculture, the new technologies that are appearing that can help us. Of course, we need also to keep studying them, but we have good indicators that it can really help us in this enhancing on the food sources that are the heat, the sensors, the robotics. So it is important to be uh, yes, to be to be in line with these new lines of knowledge that start to appear and are available to all of us. And then, of course, think on sustainability and the sustainable food sources, alternative sources, especially alternative sources for animal proteins that most of people or a large number of people are accustomed to include in their diets, and perhaps with this new era and the new knowledge, we should think a little bit if we should keep this intake, especially in so high amounts, or if we should think on to find some alternatives to these animal food products and animal sources of proteins. And we have already talked of some examples like the edible insects, like the jellyfish, like cultured meat. We didn't talk about it, but it is another possibility that is under studies, the possibility of making meat in the lab, and the 3D printed meat. So this is some examples, of course, the new plant-based foods that have similar characteristics to animal-based foods, but of course are made from plants. So all of these make us think to which way, which direction we want to follow. Here we have some alternative protein strategies and these innovation strategies to develop alternative non-animal or fish. When we talk about non-animal, we are talking about also the fish protein sources for the food industry. And the problem-solving innovation strategy approach was used to design the startups ecosystem. And the problem to solve is to find an alternative to animal fish-based proteins. And when it comes to finding an alternative, there are three main options to consider that you can see in this figure. So, using a replacement, modifying existing non-animal non-fish sources of protein, and finally making an alternative source of proteins. Regarding the replace, in this option involves the use of regular available substitutes for the target compound, for example, current vegetarian dietary options. And when we talk about modifying, this option looks at modifying some existing non-animal, non-fish sources of proteins to substitute the target compound, for example, the insect-based protein, or make, in the third case, make this option when we are talking about making, it is related from a product innovation standpoint, providing the most potential while holding the biggest challenge. It includes using novel technology processes to make proteins, and these are the examples of cultured meat, 3D bioprinting, and the precision fermentation. Of course, the technology, in case the food technology, also makes the steps forwards, and we should accompany and see their possible advantages, and of course see the drawbacks, because perhaps it is not everything an advantage. This is the challenge to see if it really can be a good option from the point of view of the consumer when we are talking about the end product. Here we have some alternative protein food regarding the mass market challenges and the approaches. So when we speak about the three A's, we have the three A's of challenges of alternative proteins mass market. We are talking about affordability, price level that is affordable for a large consumer segment, regarding the raw materials cost, the scalable manufacturing process, and of course the collaborations with mature food companies and raw material suppliers, the startups and industry partnerships and private public funding is essential. Then we have the acceptability regarding the consumers, if they are satisfied, if they are willing with the product performance, so regarding the organoleptic, the sensory properties of the product, regarding the taste and appearance. And for this, it is important, of course, the research and development of the products, the startups, and of course the funding. And finally, the accessibility. Food legislations are in place to enable market access. Of course, all of these must be under the legislation of in each country, and of course, the safety of the marketing product must be assured, and no potential risks for the health of the consumer must be posed in question. And then on the other way, but very well connected with these new technologies, new innovations, new ways of thinking to modify what the consumers are accustomed to buy and to consume, we have the food neophobia, and we have the kind of food avoiding by neophobic, as we have already discussed in last days of our course. So there are several factors that can affect the disposal for a person, for a population, to even try a new product produced from a new kind of technology, or that is not custom, that is not an habit for that population to see it as food, to start this consumption and to start to introduce it in their diet. So this in this figure we have some type of food avoidance regarding with food neophobia, and this include internal or external factors. So we have here mentioned the food from different cultures. So what is accepted in one culture, maybe it cannot be accepted in the other. We have here, for example, a very good example of beef. Here it is not even allowed for people to consume it, and you have in some countries, in the US, for example, and even in my country, that is very, very consumed. So this is a question of culture. Another thing, unfamiliar food. For example, the insects in my culture, they are not familiar, so it is not even related as food. So it can be strange, the unusual food also, the food of unknown origin. Some people, of course, wants to know the origin of the products they buy. The functional and the convenience food, the food produced by nanotechnology, new brand food on the market, novel food, healthy food as alternative versions of already known food. All of these things can make people avoid or not these new foods that are introduced or that are intended to be introduced in the market. And regarding external factors, you can mention the if we are talking about an urban or a rural population of consumers, the income of the family, of the weight of the family, of the consumers, level of education, the exposure to novel foods, and of course all of their experiences. The gender, the ethnicity, the age, the ideology, of course the dietary habits, all of these also affect the willingness of a population, of people, to be more open to try and to incorporate some kind of novel foods, new products in their daily lives. And based on this, and of course what we have already talked in previous sessions on special, especially on food neophobia, I would like to know your questions, know your comments, what you think about this, and please let me know. Let me know your point of view. You have time to discuss.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So, how might reducing food neophobia increasing overall market efficiency by expanding consumers' food choices and reducing waste due to rejection of new food?
Yes, that is one of the goals of people, food companies, and people who are innovating and who are developing new food products to introduce them in one specific market, in one specific target population. First is to study the population characteristics. It is difficult, or it can not be very successful to first develop the food product and then to introduce in that population. You first have to have the socio-cultural characterization of that population, their what they are used to consume, their traditions, and so on. For example, I can develop a wonderful new food product based on beef, and then to introduce here, people will not will not consume it. This is a very clear example. The same, I can think in a wonderful food product based on insect-based protein, and to introduce that in my country, it will be very, very difficult. So we have to see the traditions and respect We cannot make innovation only because we think it's good, it's nice, or because it is in fashion, or someone in one part of the world makes some study and find it interesting. Because what can be interesting and what can be it works here, perhaps in the other regions of the world it will not. So the first step, in my opinion, is to make a photograph, to make a very in-depth study of the target population where you want to introduce, where you want to develop that product. And of course, then it makes sense that that product be based on local raw materials. In my opinion, that makes more sense, and then see the specific needs of the population. If we see that, for example, we have a very high deficiency in iron or in some kind of vitamin or micronutrient, it is worth mentioning that we should think in something that can be good in that way to supplement or to overcome that special needs. And then, of course, at least, but not the last, but not at least, the taste, the sensorial properties that are also mentioned here. Because if all the other aspects we can achieve, all the other goals we can positively achieve, but at the end, when we give that new food product to the people, and people will not appreciate it from the point of view of texture, of taste, of appearance, it will not be successful. And food companies, the food industry, of course, they want to have success. They want to give the product, like all the companies. A company wants to give the product that most of the people are looking for. So the company will give or will put in the market the type of product that that population, the target population, are looking for, and have not so much alternatives in the market. So when I find all these characteristics, when I have the possibility to develop a food product, in this case, with all that characteristics, the possibilities, the probabilities of I am successful are greater. So I think this is the important point, I think, to bring here the knowledge of neophobic, to see if we have a more neophobic or more neophilic population, is because of that. Because it's much easier to introduce or to develop new foods, and especially with great differences from the foods that people are accustomed to eat, in a population that are much more neophilic than neophobic. Because if people simply don't want to try, how will put this product in the market? How will, because people don't even know if like or no, they don't want, because only for the reason it's different, I don't want. I'm happy with what I have. I like to eat what I am accustomed to. I'm accustomed to prepare the foods in this way, to consume, to eat this kind of foods, and simply I don't see any need, or I'm not motivated to try something different. And sometimes we can find these opinions. And in the others, there are people that are willing to try everything. They have curiosity. They have no fear to taste something that is quite new, that they never taste in their lives. But we should assess this firstly, to see how can we be more innovative, or how can we be more challenging, and to introduce or try to introduce something on the market very quite different from what population are accustomed to. So this is relevant.
Thank you, sir. So one more question. So what are the economic implications of food neophobia for companies in terms of marketing costs and pricing strategies to encourage trial and adoptions.
Yes, yes, all of that is related, and it is very important to make these studies because companies can lose a lot of money if they introduce a product on the market, and if you have a very neophobic population that even don't want to test it. So that's one of the reasons that we should make this evaluation, and perhaps in a very neophobic target population the differences between this new product to be developed should be minor or should be slightly compared with other populations because they are not able to try something too much different from what they are accustomed to. So that is one of the reasons it's so important to see the profile, the psychological profile, the identity, and this personality. If they have, if we are in the presence of neophobic or neophilic people. Yes, of course, that is very well related with this, and as an economical impact.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So, my question is, do you think AI and digital technologies can help predict or analyze food neophobia patterns and guide targeted nutrition intervention?
If with food technological,
Digital technology and
digit,
AI,
if digital technology, but which digital technology? Can you give me some example of what you are talking about?
like AI.
Yeah, yes, of course. That's one of the topics and of the future. Of course, it can help, but studies must be developed. At this point, we don't have so much studies in that way, but of course, it can help to draft the personality and see if that population can be more or less neophobic. And of course, that's very relevant for people, for researchers, for the food companies that are designing, that are developing new foods, of course. And that is already mentioned here with the EA and the sensors, robotics, all of these new technologies applied to the food science. I believe that in the near future they will be very relevant, of course, if used in a good way. Yes, yes, for sure.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon.
So, how can food innovator design product that can overcome neophobia? Like by like creating the integrating the familiar taste in the food. Like,
Yes, of course, if we see we are in presence of a neophobic population and we still want to introduce there some new food products, what can we do to be that population be more familiarized? That's the only way at this point I see. It will be with some explaining sessions, with some training, of course, but that will depend on the grade of neophobic people are, because some people perhaps can change their opinion. If I explain this product is quite similar to those one you are also consuming, its taste is very similar, but the environment footprints are very less harmful. It can bring to you some health benefits. If for some people perhaps this kind of strategy, this training, these formation plans, it can work, but of course we will have people that don't care nothing about it. I don't care about sustainability. I don't care if this will have a huge environment harmful or not. I don't care if I pay more or less, and I don't want to taste it because I don't want. That will depend, of course, the grade level and how neophobic they are. But of course, I'm sure that with the perseverance, with some sections and how we are close to the communities to join them, the new food developers, the scientists, the food scientists, the nutritionists, all the health professionals be closer to these populations and communicate properly with the populations, I believe we can transform some of these neophobic people in less neophobic, and perhaps make them at least try. They can say, I don't want to consume, but at least they tried this new food, this new thing. Because if you don't try, you can't. Of course, some things are not culturally accepted, and that, of course, is more difficult. It will be very difficult, for example, for when people come here and say to you, you have to try beef because beef has this. That is more difficult. But in some other cases, with some explanations, with some time, with some sessions, it is possible to make at least people try these new foods. Then, of course, it can happen that people will not accept, will not like for a lot of reasons, but at least try. And that is possible, that is possible. And that is the way I think we can work on.
Indeed, sir. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
My question is, why is food innovation essential in addressing global challenges like malnutrition, sustainability, and food security? Like, in what ways it can help address these challenges?
In a very different ways. So we have very different ways that food innovation and innovation regarding new technology, less harmful, of course, for the environment, and regarding sustainability, the reutilization, the reuse. I think we have already talked about this in our previous sessions. The reuse, the recycling of foods to give some proper use, for example, to management to the leftovers, and of course make some substitution of some animal sources we have mentioned also here today with others for plant-based, or even designed in lab, of course, some studies, and some of this technology and these new food products must be better studied. But we have a lot of examples that it can, of course, help. Yes, the micro is off.
One more question, sir. How can food industries and educators work together in overcoming neophobia among people?
Yes, they can and they must work together, because if we see that they have the common interest for food industry, to put in a market a new food, to develop new foods, they want that people will consume, they want that people buy. It depends of their success. And of course, it is the role of the educators also to, based on the dietary guidelines they have already, we have to make a better role from the point of view of sustainability, less deficiencies in macronutrients. We have already talked here. So there is a common goal between both, and it is a big interest. They can work together. It is not an interest from one side. So they can and they must work together. Yes, for sure, for sure.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon.
Sir, what are the common methods to access food neophobia in children and adults? And how reliable are self-reported food preference survey in this context?
The common between the excess of food you and food neophobia.
No,
Yeah.
I'm asking what are the common methods
The common methods
to access food neophobia in children and adults?
between the common methods between food neophobia, children.
Common method to assess.
Common methods to assess the food neophobia. We have the food neophobia scale that I have already mentioned. The structure validated questionnaire that must be adapted to each target population, and to assess how neophobic is that a population or not. And after applying that questionnaire, we see we have a more or less neophobic population. It is how food neophobia is evaluated. And then you want to know?
Sir, how reliable are self-reported food preference
I didn't
surveys?
understand. Sorry, how label?
How reliable? How reliable food self-reported food preference survey in this context?
The food preference. Of course, the food preference is related with this xenophobia, and but how to assess the food preference is
How
how
reliable are this that data, sir? So I'll
how,
repeat
how,
my question.
how reliable is
Yeah. What are the common method to assess food neophobia in children and adults? And how reliable are self-reported food preference survey in this context?
it is the way we have to evaluate it, and the validated questionnaires adapted to the population, even for children and for adults, to see if the population is more or less xenophobic. And yes, we have good results on that, and then you have the experience. Of course, you have to also make, or you need to also make market studies to see before you have the mass production of any specific kind of food. You should do some market studies with small sample sizes to see if the people will be willingness or not to accept the product. And if you have good results on that, of course, you can keep doing some pilot studies with small samples. And if you still have good results, then you start producing a larger scale. No company, no one wants to develop any product in the lab or by their own and then start their production in large scale with no perceptions from the population. Before that, it is important to see their possible acceptance. We can think that, of course, by these characteristics, by the characteristics of this targeted population, I can think as a researcher, as a new product development, that can be a good option for the population. But if I don't give the population my product, my new product to try, I don't have the really perception of them, and that is very important because what I think it cannot be the same what population is thinking or is wanting at that time. So that is very important. That is very important, and we have that ways to assess if this new product will have more or less success.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good
My
afternoon.
question is, what are the risks of ignoring food neophobia when launching innovative food product?
What are the neophobia? I didn't understand. What are your questions?
What are the risks of ignoring food neophobia when
Yes,
launching innovative
the
food
risk,
product?
it is a risk because if you don't know if you have a more neophobic or less neophobic population, you have the risk of people at least these don't want even to try your new food product. You may think on, you may develop a new food product with very interesting characteristics, with a very nice flavor, taste, whatever. But if it is quite different from the foods that the target population is accustomed to include in their diets, they can simply don't want something that is quite different. Why I will try this? And if they are very neophobic and don't open to try new things, in this case new foods, you have the probability to have no success in your product, not because your product is not good, hasn't an adequate nutritional profile, a good price, everything, but simply because people will not even want to try. And if in the first step, if you see that you are studying or if you are intent to introducing the market of that population that is neophobic, a new product, if you see you have a very neophobic targeted population, I think you should think in some strategies to before introduce the product in the market, to see how to adapt it to that population and how to see ways to explain those training sessions I have already talked, to see if you will have a good acceptance or not for the population. And ignoring that, it is high risk, of course, it is a risk.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Alongside the three A's that you had suggested earlier, the acceptability, accessibility, and affordability, don't you think advertising plays a key role in trying to get over neophobia? Because in Hindi, there's a saying called "Jo dikta hai, wo bikta hai," which means that which is seen gets sold. So, what do you think about advertising?
Yes, it will pass by education, by training sessions, by communicate with the people. That is very important. That is very important. It is not only important for us to see, oh, okay, we have a more neophobic population or less neophobic. Then what we will do with that information. And of course, if you have a more neophobic population, it will be harder for you to introduce something new on that community. So before you introduce it, you have to think on strategy, think on programs, ways of labeling, marketing, everything to make that population more disposable to introduce the product in their lives, or even to try the full product. So of course that is important because we can have access, but if I don't want, I will not buy. So that is a problem. For example, we can have access to insect-based products, but I even think on that as food. I will not buy them. Even if you give me, it's not a question of price. Even if you give me to eat, I will not. It's the same with you with beef. If I give you a piece of meat, it is food, you have protein, but if it is not culturally accepted, if you don't want it, if you don't see it as food, what matters? I'm here saying the advantages or not advantages to include it in your daily diet. And sometimes we must adapt this new food product we are designing if we see that people are not at all available to incorporate it in their diet. So perhaps it is not. It can work very good for a Western population, Western society, but not in the East. And of course, we have some products that works like this, but vice versa. So that is very important to take into consideration.
So I raise this because if advertising is used within the cultural boundaries of that particular region,
Yes.
like I can suggest that all of us through our childhood have been influenced a lot through a lot of advertising with respect to food. Like we can
course.
get back into memories
Yes, of
regarding
course.
Lays and Cheetos.
The education
and all of
also that is given to the child, to the
Yes,
children, from not only from the advertisements but at school, the parents in at home. That is very important, and that is what will modulate then your habits when you grow up as you be an older child, adolescence, adulthood. So what you learned when you start your life, and that and the experiences that will influence a lot. And of course, if we can make sessions to sensibilize the educators at school, also the parents, the community, the advertisements that are and the old children see, and nowadays through the social media, also another way of communicate, very important, even more than others. That is very important to contribute for not so neophobic population, because a very neophobic population can be a problem, when you want to introduce something new, something better from the point of view of health for the people, health for the planet. But if you are not even able to consume it, how can we do for that? In some cases, it's very hard. In some cases, people are not keen at all to try what is different, simply because it's different. They don't want to hurt nothing regarding sustainability, regarding health, regarding cost, regarding no. I don't want. I'm good with what I have. I like this in this way. I will not make a different preparation of this food. I will not substitute this food that I am accustomed to include in my diet for another. You are talking to me, it's better for this, for other. I don't want, there are people very closed-minded, as we can say, and not able to make or something different in their lives only when they have no chance. Or this is like the eating behaviors. Some people will change something in their eating behaviors when the doctor says you have to, otherwise we will die soon. Something like that, because but this of course will depends people to people, person to person. But all of that actions and since very early ages are very relevant, is where everything starts, and is much easier to act in those ages than, of course, in the adulthood, because you have, for example, an adult with 50 years. 50 years of experience in that way, and after 50 years, I will say you have to change this. This is not good. You have. It's much difficult when you are in the school when you have 4, 5, 6 years. It's much easier. That's why the most of the obese children become obese adults. If there are no actions, if there are no interventions, they will learn from very soon, from very early in their ages, and of course this will accompany them until adulthood and so on. If nothing will be done. So it's very important that those kind of interventions in the early ages. Yes, well pointed. Yes,
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon.
In your opinion, which innovation might face the greatest resistance due to food neophobia and why?
The great innovation, in my opinion, is it would be the education of people more than technological process, more than everything. If people have, since early ages, all the community, the parents, the educators can work on this, on a better eating behaviors, and how important is to change the eating consumption worldwide. I think this would be the better innovation, to innovate regarding the people minds and what the people learn since early ages. The new technology, talking about the new technologies, most of these are quite new, and we have to learn more about that, especially, for example, the cultural meat. We don't know, even the GMO, the application of GMOs, the 3D bioprinting, all of this technology within the utilization of artificial intelligence, the AI, it seems we have good indicators that can be very efficient and very interesting. But of course, considering their large scale utilization and make the most of the foods for people based on this, of course, we are at a very starting point. But for sure, what you know, and we are not at the very starting point, and you should more to accomplish that is better education sessions, better educate our children in schools, in the home environment. That is crucial, and there is no technology that will appear for sure that can surpass if can be efficient in the teaching and the capacity of learning of the children very early in the school.
Thank you, sir.
So, so as you said that early education regarding the food neophobia will help a person or a community overcome it. So, could you enlighten us about any psychological or behavior tool that are being used internationally to help a community overcome the food neophobia?
Yes, I don't know what is the situation here in India, but last years, at least in my country, it has been revealed very important to have also a nutritionist in all schools to give education session regarding how to choose the foods from the plate from the different food groups, and we are starting to adopt it because not every schools have that, and the education, food literacy is very important. Nutrition literacy since very early, it reveals very important, because we also find that the children, they will not only learn about it, but they will teach their parents at home, because when they go to the home environment, and if the parents make some wrong or some different of what they learn at school, the children have no problems in pointing the finger to the father and say, we shouldn't eat this, or we are eating a lot of this, we are eating too much meat or too much too much fish. But I learned today at school that my plate should have more than half of vegetables and fruit. So this is very much more important than perhaps all of us know, and all of that sessions of some professionals near the students in very early ages work very well. And of course, then the work that we can make in the community is also for elderly people, elderly people. It is also very important, because well nourished elderly people, we can avoid a very large number of diseases, and a part of it we can make their lives with more and more quality of life. And it is important not only to live more years, but to live with quality. And that is a kind of work that we can do.
Okay, thank you for your insights, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So I just want to make this. Hello. So
Hello?
I'd like to make this session more interesting by knowing each one of one that any particular food item which they find it neophobic.
Yes.
So like
Which food you have aversion?
Exactly,
For example,
like
I don't care. For example, I don't eat tomato. I don't eat lettuce. I don't eat skunk. Yes. That is
exactly like
important. I
similar with
believe
me.
that all of us have one food that can even smell or can even be close to it.
Yeah, like starting
That
with
would
me,
be
even
interesting.
for me, I don't like tomatoes. So
Tomato.
tomatoes, yes. So I might eat them indirectly, like tomato flavored chips or in the purees, but I hate to consume them directly raw.
I'm excused because there are some kind of food that may be a problem, and I believe that you have a big problem because tomato is very consumed. I
Yeah.
don't know, man, but for example, in my country, we have a lot of sauces to meat, to fish based on tomato.
But due to tomatoes, like even I'm restricted with most of the food items. Like even if you talk about ketchup or in sauces or even in pizzas, like
But you can eat the sauce or only
no, not even the sauce. Like the smell.
nothing related with tomato. You can eat.
Exactly, like indirectly I can, but at a certain limit.
And now I question how that affects your life. Or not,
It affects my life because I'm restricted with most of the food. For example, like I get restricted by eating pastas. I can't have tomatoes in pastas. Apart from that, tomatoes also, like I'm also not that much into mayonnaise or other sauces. So I don't try even burgers or pizzas. So that's one of the reasons. Like
yes, and of course
mainly.
you find from
I find it
strategies.
very
Yes, to avoid.
I feel nauseated or like even like once I tried consuming pizza, the slice of
Yes.
pizza, I was not able to have it just because of the smell of the
The
tomato
smell.
sauce.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I'd like to know each one of their any
Yes,
particular food
that
items,
is that would
starting
be
from
interesting.
first one.
Yes. Good idea. And I believe that we will see some strange food items, but other very common, like tomato. Yes, please.
So, so it's more a cultural thing, but at home, like for generations together, we do not eat onion and garlic.
Not onion, not garlic.
Yes, and also even mushrooms are considered as parasites, so
Oh,
those are
that is
also not consumed.
you talked about mushrooms, and that's question. I see here you eat a lot of vegetables, but I until today I think I didn't eat any kind of mushroom. Is that correct? It is not very common for the region, for the country, or Because,
There
for
are
example, in Portugal we don't eat so much vegetables as you eat here, but mushroom is very common. We have yes, it's so common as tomato, as lettuce, as cucumber. We have a lot of consumption of mushroom when talking about the vegetables, and that is a curiosity I have because since I'm here, I think I didn't eat mushrooms till now. Seasonable. Oh,
yeah, like onion and garlic are consumed by everyone. Yeah,
in Portugal, we
tomato.
have mushrooms all over the year. We have no, of course, from cultivated in some artificial environments, of course, but you have that consumption and easy access, not so expensive to through the year. Yes, that was one of my curiosities. Thank you for remember because since
So,
I'm here, I didn't see mushrooms.
sir,
Yes,
actually, she don't like sweets. So,
sweets.
a kind of neophobic towards sweets, sir.
Yes, you don't like sweets, so
I
that's not a
am I
problem.
am okay with everything, sir, but I find myself neophobic for lady finger, sir.
For
Lady finger.
yes.
Uh,
Yes.
it's not for flavor, sir. I find myself in vomiting conditions when I consume bindi. That
Yes.
is lady's finger, sir.
Yes, everyone. I believe that everyone has at least one thing
I also
that
usually
can
consume
tolerate.
everything, but I just hate the taste of Karela, bitter melon.
Karela.
Yeah, bitter melon because of his bitter melon also because of his taste. It's very bitter. I don't like it.
Nice.
I hate all the raw spices used in biryani and for the seasoning of some local food here, especially the coriander seeds.
The coriander seeds.
Yes, I can't eat it. Like I hate the taste. So yes.
So I don't like sweet
You
only.
what?
Sweet.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Interesting. To people that aversion to sweet.
So I don't like cauliflower taste. That's it.
Don't like?
Cauliflower taste.
Ah, okay,
Cauliflower.
okay.
I don't like ghee. I hate the smell of ghee.
I don't like coriander leaves.
Coriander.
Sir, I hate milk.
What?
I hate milk.
You eat milk. Another art, I think, in this state, in this region, eating milk. And what do you do to special here? Because I believe that milk, dairy products here in every meal we have. It is easy for you to avoid the consumption of milk.
Yes, sir, I consume buttermilk
Okay.
instead of milk.
Yes, buttermilk. Okay.
Sir, I hate brinjals.
Brinjals.
Sir, I hate spice with the mix with sweet.
Spicy seeds.
Yeah, spice and mixing with sweet. I don't hate. I hate that. Sir.
Spicy sweets. Yes,
Yeah,
sweet.
spice with mix sweet, sir.
The sweet with the spicy. Is
Yeah,
it? The mix.
like
The mix of
like
spicy with the
tomato
sweet.
sauce, sir. Tomato sauce.
Okay.
I also hate brinjal.
What? Brinjals also.
Yeah.
The same. Okay.
Sir, I eat everything I have noise.
So I don't like tea.
Bean.
Tea.
Tea.
Tea. Chai. Chai.
Ah,
Tea.
tea.
Sir, I am neophobic towards corn because I am allergic to it. It's not just a fear; it is a protective
Okay.
neophobia.
Let's see. When you say I'm neophobic too, neophobic it's the meaning a fear to try new foods. You are not neophobic to a special food. At least you have an aversion to that food. It's different, okay? Let's understand the concept. You can be neophobic to a new food product based on onion, on garlic, on whatever, okay? But saying I'm neophobic to garlic, that's not correct, okay? You have an aversion, okay? I believe you have an aversion to the food, just to, to correct. Yes?
Good
Mhm.
afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon.
Sir, I don't like jackfruit. I don't like its texture and its smell.
Smell. Okay.
I don't like.
Yes, we have in the fruits very different tastes, and of course some people loves one kind of fruits and other not so much. So let's see another opinion.
Good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon.
Actually, there is not such a food item that I am neophobic with.
You can't be neophobic to food item. We have talked now about it.
I'm pure vegetarian. I like to eat the veggie foods, but I am
You
neophobic.
like, but you like all the vegetables.
Yeah, but I am allergic to mushroom. I had tried it. That will not consider under
Of
the
course, but that
neophobic
is different. Of
conditions.
course, that is
So there is not a such thing that I can say that I am neophobic with.
good. Good.
Thank you.
It can happen. We can have yes, of course.
So I also eat everything. There is no such food.
You also
I
eat everything. No
Absolutely.
problems. We have not a specific food item that you see. This never. This I can't even smell. I don't like.
So I eat everything, sir, veg, non-veg, everything. There is no
Interesting.
such problem with any food.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, I like all vegetables.
Yes, but I'd like to know what you don't like.
No, sir. I like all vegetables and fruits.
Sorry.
I like all vegetables and fruits.
All but only vegetables. And if I talking you about meat, but we are talking about all food groups, not only vegetables. Not, I believe that all of you don't eat beef. That is one thing that is very clear. But apart of beef, we have fish. We have different kinds of meat: pork, rabbit, chicken.
Sir,
Okay,
I
we are
am
not
pure
we are
vegetarian.
not talking only
Sir,
about the vegetables.
sir, I am pure vegetarian.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you. Good
But
afternoon, sir.
this is also this is also important for a company or for a food developer that is thinking to introduce a product in the market. For example, this population 80%, 90% is vegetarian. It's food vegetarian. Of course, if it is my intention to develop a new food product based on chicken, on some kind of meat or fish, it will be a very huge barrier. So that is very important to take into consideration. This information is very and for example, if you go to some place where they don't have the custom to eat vegetables, it will be difficult if you will propose a kind of meal or kind of daily based only on vegetables. People say, but what's this? So this is very important to take into consideration. Yes,
So,
please.
good afternoon, sir. I can eat anything when it comes to survival. Like
That is a good answer. No, that is true because we can have our preferences regarding culture. But if I close you in this room
yes,
with nothing and only chicken,
I can eat.
what you
I will
do?
eat. I will eat.
Or
I'm a non-vegetarian. So I will eat.
a worse challenge, only with beef.
Yeah, I will eat. Yeah, in Kerala we will eat beef also.
Only this
So
room. You will die or you will eat the beef.
I will eat because I'm a non-vegetarian and I
But
have
I
consumed.
think that answer will not be the same for all of you. At least at this point from the theoric plan.
Yeah.
Because if we do it the experiment, then we will see. And of course, there are things in the human physiology, in the human thinking, that for survival, perhaps you will also be a cannibal. You will also eat, and there are some in the story, some documentation of this, that people, for survival, even eat meat from humans. So one thing is what we are saying, and from the theoric plan and here in this room. Other is for survival, and for survival reasons. This neophobic, neophilic, of course, this scenario change. But we are talking, of course, in a normal day life, and not in this case. But that is a very important point. Thank you very much for your
Thank you, sir.
But without the question of survival, you don't have any ingredient, any food that you avoid.
I don't like the taste of coriander leaf.
But
That's
if you have to eat, you eat it.
Yeah, yes, I
Okay.
will. If that is the only thing available, then I will eat.
That
It's
is
not a problem
different
for me.
because, of course, some one of us we have preferences. It is not I eat everything. That's fine, but of course I prefer more of this fruit than the other. I prefer sweet than, but I have no aversion. I have no problems of eating everything. That is different. Of I don't eat. I have aversion to that specific food product. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Very
Thank you,
important.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir,
So,
I personally like everything, but I hate okra and jackfruit due to their sticky nature. I
Yes.
don't like their sticky nature. That's why.
you avoid to eat it. Yes.
After eating, I feel kind of vomiting and nausea.
Yes, some of us, of course, we have some bad feelings and bad aftertastings when consume some foods, and for some reasons we avoid it. Yes, that's true. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, I don't like to eat capsicum, and by texture,
What?
it's capsicum.
What's that?
Capsicum.
Oh, pepper, red pepper. Okay.
I don't like that thing.
You don't like the taste of red pepper.
Sir, I'm vegetarian, so I'm neophobic to non-vegetarian foods. I have never tried.
Yes, because you are vegetarian. So that is a different reason. When you have some kind of course, if I am vegetarian, that is on by that I don't eat meat products. So, but
I don't even like the smell of non-vegetarian food. So
okay, okay. Hello.
So I personally like to explore food a lot. So I don't think I will try everything and anything.
Everything,
Yeah.
vegetarian, non-vegetarian.
Exactly. But if I say about being neophobic, then I would like, as I explore East Asian culture a lot and different
So
culture.
you consider yourself very neophilic, not neophobic.
Yeah. But
This is what the food companies and people who are researching and have new food products want, that all the population would be a copy of you. If all people think on that way, that is then of course you try and you cannot like, you cannot enjoy. But the simple fact of we have a population or you have a person that is able to try, that is a very good starting point.
yeah. So I like to explore and read about the food that are being eaten in different culture across the globe, but I'm mainly interested in East Asian culture. So I think I would never ever try blood sausages and the dishes in which animal blood are mixed. Like never ever in my life. And I would also not try. There's a dish called sangji in Korean culture that is live octopus being chopped. I could
Yes.
never ever try
You have
that
in
food.
some regions of Portugal, you have a kind of rice that rice is prepared with the blood of the chicken, and you have in the rice all parts of the chicken, and the sauce of the rice is the blood, and it has a very specific flavor, and some people hate and other love. It is like that, and I remember a fellow of mine, a Spanish, that also don't like very much to eat animal products, and I was eating the rice and give him to taste, but I didn't tell him what was how was the rice prepared, and he was enjoying very much. When I told him, you know what, what you eat, what you eat, and when I told him, he went to the bathroom and, and vomiting. So this is if I didn't tell him what he was eating, or if I thought that that based on the liquor of a fruit that was extracted from the sap, and that is the rice of, he would, please give me more. This is interesting. This is also psychological, and psychological is very related with this.
Yeah, so I can never eat live animal dishes and like any dish that have blood, animal blood mixed in it. Never.
Yes.
Good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon.
So I'll never try beef and pork.
Of course. And you have some regions, for example, in the north of Europe, they eat, in some places, eat meat of sharks. I don't know if you know, but and they have smoked shark and soup of some parts of the shark. I don't know. I never tried, but a lot of people doesn't even try it because some other reasons, not for the taste, but just to know that it is unacceptable, it is unfamiliar to them to consume that kind of products.
Yes, sir. Hello, sir.
Hello.
As a vegetarian, and I love to explore food, and I consider myself neophilic when it comes to vegetarian
Yes.
option. And obviously, I'm neophobic to non-veg
Of course,
vegetarian food,
non-vegetarian,
and
that's
but
normal. But
still,
in the group of vegetables, you don't have a fruit or a vegetable that you don't
yes, I love everything.
everything.
Anything I can eat in vegetarian, and yeah, I love read about non-vegetarian food and culture related to it, and how they make it and everything. But yeah, I can't eat
For
that. I
you,
can
for you,
only
no.
eat that.
Okay.
I don't like to eat fried cucumber. I prefer it as a salad, but uh, all fried, I don't like it.
Yes, sometimes people. It depends on the way of preparation and the cooking process can tolerate or not a product. That's interesting. Yes, thank you.
Sir, I'm neophilic as I love to explore new foods, but I will never eat prawns.
Yes.
Prawns, sir.
Prawns. You
Yeah.
never eat prawns, but you'd like to eat or not because being
So I love to explore new foods. I like to eat new food, like new recipes and like seafoods. But I will never eat prawns because of its smells and texture.
okay, prawns.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I don't like bitter gourd because of it taste. Bitter gourd.
Better go because of what? Of the taste. Okay,
Because it tastes bad.
the taste is bad for you.
So I used to live in the northeast where insects and insect larvae are sold all over in the markets.
Yes,
I don't like that.
you don't like.
Even the look of it when they're crawling in the trays.
Okay.
That. And I used to live in a hostel where they used to feed us beans and cauliflower every day almost. So I developed that aversion to them.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, as I'm pure vegetarian, so I'm neophobic towards non-vegetarian protein like egg and meat.
Yes, that's a valid reason. I think that the cultural reasons is very
Yes,
common
sir.
to most of you to be an aversion for meat products. But in the world of vegetables, you or fruits or what you are accustomed to see or to buy, there are some specific kind of fruit or vegetable that you have a kind of aversion or no, or you eat everything like.
So I like all type of fruits, but in vegetables I don't eat
There are
some.
some ones that you
Yes.
avoid. And can you give an example?
So vegetable like bottle gourd.
What is that? Some specific from.
Bottle gourd.
I don't see what is. Then you show
It's a
me a
type
photo.
of green vegetable.
Oh, okay, okay,
Mm.
okay.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
From cultural aspects, I don't want to even taste some things,
Of
some
course.
foods, So, but I am a Bengali person, so I want varieties of foods in my plate. But one thing I can't tolerate in my food habits, that dry fish. So
Dry fruits.
which I can't tolerate it of flavor or smell.
Okay.
So that's it.
Okay.
And in
Everyone shared the opinion. I think we no in the first row, and then I will share mine, and of course Dr. Tej Palazzo will share their aversions to.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, I don't like spicy food, sir.
Spicy food, you have an aversion? Interesting.
I'm not usually neophobic to any of the veg food, but certain things such as raw onion, peas, and sour fruits.
Oh,
That's
so-
it.
Let's
Now
see.
let's hear Tejpal's point of view.
Thank you. So it's nice to hear from everyone that we did this one exercise also, that most of them have everyone having some neophobic listing. So it's nice and it's a great exercise to all of us, and we came to know that some of us are having different kind of neophobic listing. So for me, actually, I have never tried non-veg food items. So still, I am not means I can consider myself neophobic to non-veg. Actually, at this point
Yes,
of
I
time.
think all of us have not one but more than one version, and for different reasons. And of course, for vegetarian people, from start beginning, everything that is not, at least when you are talking about pure vegetarians, everything that is not vegetable or fruit, it is not well accepted. But then you have some specific ingredients, foods inside what we are used to consume, and it is not cultured, not accepted, that we don't like. For example, I'm vegetarian, but I don't like this fruit, I don't like this vegetable, or I don't like this vegetable in a salad as well. But if the vegetable is cooked, or is in the oven, or is fried, I can accept it. This can also varies on the type of food preparation. Of course, for example, there are, if we think globally and we travel around the world, there are a lot of things that we never known, but when you see, oh, that I can eat. If we see Chinese markets, at least from my point of view, I will have a lot of aversions, perhaps, to everything that has a lot of spicy, that what I can tolerate. So I can say I can tolerate spicy food. Of course, when it is too spicy, I can tolerate. And then we have, for example, in the how can I say, the normal foods that we are more accustomed to eat, but some of them, some people don't like for one specific reason, for taste, for example. There is a fruit that is pear. I don't know if you consume, but I don't even can smell the pear, and it's a very normal fruit, a very normal food product that is sold. But for myself, I can't tolerate even the smell. It is for me very bad. But it depends, of course. But it was a very interesting sharing. And if we think on this, if we have a population with more and lots of aversions, can be complicated to change your mind. And how can we make you change your mind related with your aversions? How can I make you start or even try something that you are not keen to consume? That is the problem. That is the problem. And if you are not open to try something different, of course, if we are trying to introduce some kind of diverse food item or food preparation or food product, what else, it will be harder and harder. So it is very important to first establish how neophilic or neophobic is the population. Yes. Thank you. My favorite. I like very much dry fruits. When you introduce the dry fruits in rice, in even in sweet, I like very much all kinds of dry fruits. I like very much the taste of garlic. Yes, yesterday I tasted the chapati with garlic with butter. For me, it's better than sweet. Very good. And then of course the sauces when they are not so spicy, the quality of fruit you have and the vegetables, but raw with not any kind of specific preparation. The taste of the fruits and the raw vegetables you have here are wonderful. The buttermilk, the dairy products, very high quality. I have already told to Dr. Teshbar that, for example, if you buy milk in a supermarket in Lisbon and you compare it and put it in the same side of the milk you have here, it is different things. It is you can even compare it because very different one. It's like water when you have no taste, and here you have a very tasteful product, a very good product, and wonderful. So, and it is the same in theory. It is the same product. So sometimes it is not the type of product, but the quality or from where they are raised up or collected or cultivated that changes everything. If you go to a supermarket and buy a potato and you will cook that potato. It is totally different if you have your own farm or if you know a farm where they cultivate there the potato, you know the conditions and you go there and cook in the same way the same food product that is a potato, but the differences from the point of view of taste and of course if you see the nutritional and the composition we are also different, but simply the taste is different and I can easily say I don't like potatoes or I love potatoes. And you are talking about the same food product, the same potato, but of course in very different conditions. And that makes the difference. In Portugal, I don't consume, I think in these days I will consume the same amount of dairy products that I consume in 1 year in Portugal because I don't like very much the milk, the yogurt. There, the taste is very different. And here you have high quality dairy products. So it will, of course, modulate your tastes, your preferences, because of course, if you are accustomed to a different kind of milk, a different kind of yogurt, a different kind of fruit, different kind of vegetables, perhaps you would not appreciate so much those products. And for the other part, if you have meat products of high quality, and if you are raised up since early ages and accustomed to eat those products, perhaps you like or prefer more that meat products in comparison with vegetables. In Portugal, a lot of people, a lot of children have problems to consume more vegetables. We want that children, that people consume more vegetables and less meat. In an auditorium like this in Portugal, most of the people will say meat. Exactly the opposite of you. That is the difference. That is important to know when you think on something to introduce in that market, in that population, to be successful or not. That will make all the difference. Of course, we want that people consume more vegetables. But if we simply introduce more vegetables in the market, doing nothing, people will not buy it just for nothing. You have to know or to find strategies to make people think why they must introduce more vegetables and consume less meat products. That will make all the difference. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for such an engaging session. I must say the discussion today was highly interactive and it was wonderful to see how so many of you share your thoughts and questions. We hope this session gave you valuable insights into food innovation and understanding consumer behavior. Now we will take a short break for the tea, and after the break we will continue with our next session by another esteemed national speaker, Dr. Monica Punia. So please relax, enjoy your tea and be back on time for the next session. Thank you.